So moving on from the dragonfly to the clock itself, you can see that I've actually prepared the wood beforehand, before I did the carving. So here's my working drawing. The numbers, here's where the clock goes in the middle. So let's just talk about the clock for a moment. The clock I'm using is one of these. It's a little digital clock. You buy it as a kit. The thing that you need to pay attention to when you buy these things is this length here, and they will specify that, you know, on the particular product. So that length, because that is a bit that goes through here, and depending on the size and thickness of your wood, you'll need to have a different length of this spindle here. And here you can see I've recessed the wood, chopped this out, and the clock just fits in the back. Some of them fit on the surface. There's a battery that goes in here, and then on the other side, we come back. You can see now, I think that let's put that there. That's right. See that it's coming through. There's a little nut that goes on that holds it in place with a washer, and then the hands go on this part here. And that'll all be explained in the actual kit. The thing about these hands, these are gold, but you can paint these with acrylic paints. So that's the clock. Again, I'll put a few notes in the download about that. Let's just go back here to our drawing. So I've sorted out the wood, I've sorted out the clock. Now I'm moving into the actual carving itself. And what I've got is just the three numbers, quite large, and the font I'm using is an Art Deco arts and crafts type font, which I've modified a little bit, and again I'll put details in the download. Here's our centre line down here, and you see I've offset this one a little bit to read well. I think it reads better, and you need to do this optically. And I've got a line across here that lines this and this one up. So make sure that when you draw out on your wood, you've got these same lines that you can put your letters on. So we're going to look at that carefully, so that would line up. But we'll look at that in a minute later. So the other thing I'm going to do, one thing before I carve the letters and put the letters on, is this circle here. Now, without that line, these sort of float around the surface, to my mind. So this line, which is just a scratch thin line, I'm going to put that in now in order to sort of stop these letters floating and anchor them on the surface. To mark out my circle, I'm going to need the centre, and of course I've got a hole. So what I've made is a little plug, a little conical piece of wood that I've just sanded down. I'm going to pop that in there and tap that in. To get that out again, obviously I'll just pop it out from the back, make sure that's nice and firm. And then with a point, I'm going to find my centre again, that's between these two lines. I'll just do this by eye. So now I have my centre point. And to make the score, I'm going to use these dividers. These are fixed dividers. In other words, once I've got them to a position, they won't move. Now, a normal pair of dividers has 2 points, and you can certainly use that sort of thing to do it. But what I've done here, and it's a special pair of dividers I have for this sort of work, I've even marked it so that I don't confuse it with other dividers. This end here, I've actually flattened like a chisel, like a rounded cornerless chisel, and that should score and cut the wood rather than dragging it up. So this is a better idea. So I will find the line there, and then yep, very carefully I'm going to come around like this, and I'm just going to scratch it like so. So this is quite subtle. I'll go around a few times, make sure I've got that line in there. Exactly where these letters go is your choice, in that there's an aesthetic side to this that is quite personal. But what you must do is, when you've made your decision as to where this letter will go, is to make some reference points. So for example, I've got this line here, which is square to the wood, square to the midline. So that here, so that here and here will sit on that line, and so that's the height. And then I've got another point here, which tells me exactly how much along. So I've got at least 3 points, and I've got the same here, 1, 2, 3. So I know where these will go. So I'll work all that out beforehand till I'm happy with that. And then basically I'm just going to glue these to the wood using an ordinary sort of stationer's glue stick, because this will stick to wood quite well, or quite enough, adequately enough. So I can adjust that into position. Get that just so.